That's big business. Hit town, but that's big pimpin'. My potential, that's infinite. Pin game insane. Make hits like King Griffin, a 10th inning.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 28 of the 10th Inning Podcast. I'm Sean. He's Dan. Dodger hat today. I got the Mets hat on because you know why? Best time of year. Baseball's back, baby. Opening day was last Thursday for some teams, right? Thursday or was it Wednesday?
Thursday, I believe.
Thursday. And we actually have some real life baseball to talk about. Now, Dan, how are you doing?
Sean, I mean, there's a reason we have this up here today.
Yeah.
And this night, actually, as you can see in the hit columns, there was none there. There's no walks either. That error is brought to you by Hanley Ramirez at shortstop, having an absolute panic attack on a routine ground ball to short. However, Clayton lost his perfect game there in the seventh inning. That 2014 beautiful night versus the Rockies. I'll never forget it. We'll slide our way to Corey Dixon to end it. It replays in my mind almost daily. However, today, in his first start, we were in the seventh inning, Sean, and we were perfect. 13 strikeouts through 7. I'm not going to say too much because I'll talk about it, when we go into my pitcher highlight for the week, because I think we all know who I'm going to talk about. Let's just put it out there now.
Actually.
All I'm going to say is I told some of you guys so. Zeke, how do you feel? Okay, maybe the Cy Young pick doesn't look too crazy right now. The King might be back. And I have some numbers that might tell you that I think he has been back, and he never lost it, which I'll go to my grave with. The only thing I'll say, I got to get this out now because I don't want to talk about it when we get to the player highlight. Sean, I'll ask you a question.
Yeah.
When we spoke, and I said it looks like, King Start's going to go to the 5 spot or even really the 6 spot. Dave had said, it's because we're going to give him a minor league sim game, right? Either a minor league game or a sim game. We're going to get his pitch count up because, a lot of our starters aren't built up yet except Walker, and we don't want him to go out there and have to blow a bullpen open. Understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Rather him get a full start too. This happened obviously midway through last week. He does a sim game, 5 innings pitched, 75 pitches, right? To your knowledge, when you are building up your pitch count, I feel like starters normally start at between 30 and 40 pitches, and they go out about 10 to 15 right per start is how they're building up. Am I accurate in saying that?
No, that sounds about right. That's how it typically goes. Yeah.
And as a former pitcher, and I never pitched on a big stage like you for World Series championship teams. Is it correct by saying that an inning, let's say, where you throw 30 pitches, and then maybe you finish the game with 80 pitches, is a different kind of stress level than throwing 12 to 15 every inning with, not so stressful at-bats? There's a different weight to certain pitches, especially when they're extended in an inning.
Yeah, absolutely. Every pitch isn't exactly the same. So if you're mowing them down, the pitches don't have the same kind of value as if you're throwing 30 pitches in an inning with bases loaded or runners in scoring position for a long period of time. Yeah.
Those are just 2 points I have to say to Dave, because Clayton finished with 80 pitches today, Sean. He threw 5 innings and went 75 pitches. In my estimation, I think that's a bigger workload than 80 over 7 for me, because that means he threw more pitches in a shorter period of time.
Yeah.
If he threw 75 in a sim game, I'm thinking he can get to 85 and 90. That's where he should be today. That's why we did the sim game, because we wouldn't have to use bullpen. If he was only getting to 80 pitches, we could have assumed 5 innings probably, which I don't understand the point, being if he could just throw 75 last week. He gets to 80, obviously the easiest day he's ever had. He hasn't had a person on base, and we're pulling him. If you're telling me 90's the hard max, whatever. I'm not even going to talk to you about history. Let him go out to the 8th. Just let him pitch exactly what he's supposed to be working up to at least. Why are we pulling him after 7? And there's a good shot he gives up a hitter, walks somebody in the 8th, and then everyone can feel better about the situation. But the guy threw 5 more pitches than he's already been worked up to. So you're not even increasing his workload to get him built up for next start. What is he going next start, 85?
Okay.
There was no purpose. It was such easy pitching. He didn't look tired, obviously. He struck out the fucking side, okay?
Don't tell Dave that. He said he could tell the pitchers were losing their pizzazz. He said he was getting tired out there.
I wouldn't have been upset if they pulled him at 90 pitches and he was looking tired. He looked seemingly fresh to me. I'm not there, but he was also at where he had been worked up to already, and we're building his arm, not keeping it at 80 pitches, unless he's only throwing 80 the rest of the season. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. I'm just kind of disappointed in that. I want to congratulate Clay on a great game. We'll do a lot more of that later. Sorry for taking over the podcast already, Sean.
No, I agree. I think that unfortunately in today's game, at this point in the season, that the managers will typically err on the side of caution in that regard. But which is very tough to see because they haven't had a perfect game, I think, in 10 years in baseball. I think 10 years.
And another thing for people who maybe aren't, they're casual fans, perfect game and no-hitter might seem like they go hand in hand, and they do to a certain extent. There's only like 23 perfect games in history, and no-hitters is a much higher number, one I don't have off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
To throw a perfect game, you have to be a pitcher that doesn't walk people. Clayton happens to be one of those, has, I think, the lowest walk rate all time in a single season. It was just a special day. He was on pace to probably finish a possible perfecto in under 100 pitches. It just pains me that he wasn't given the opportunity to lose it.
And he handled it well. At least talking to the media, it made it sound like it was a bigger picture kind of thing. We got a season to go. We have a championship to win, which is good on him for doing that because I don't know if I'm in that situation if I would say the same thing, especially as a competitor. I know Dave Roberts took Rich Hill out of a perfect game scenario in I think the 7th inning back in like 2016, and Rich Hill did not exactly handle it the same way. And who can blame him? But yeah, that's the situation that you prefer to see it end naturally, either a perfect game, a walk, a hit, or whatever it may be.
Or at the right pitch count. Again, I get the whole issue of this is a long season. We're here to win a World Series, not get an individual accomplishment. Agreed. Yeah. My issue is he was not at his pitch limit yet. If I'm the manager, given the situation, he threw 80 non-stressful pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Which to me, he should have been allowed to throw 90 non-stressful pitches or maybe 85 stressful pitches. That's where he should have been. That's my qualm.
I agree.
But there's a bunch of other league news, Sean. So let's get into it. What else do you have?
I have one that has been pretty apparent to me, at least watching the Mets. The Mets and the Rockies have led the league so far with hit by pitches. It's very early. I think the Mets passed the Rockies today. I think the Mets are at 10 or 11. That's so much to the point where the bench is clear between the Mets and the Nationals a few days ago when Lindor got hit in the face a day after Pete Alonso got hit in the face.
Yeah.
And then James McCann got hit twice in one game prior to that. Obviously, I don't think there was an intent on any side at that point, but as Buck Showalter said, it comes to a point where intent doesn't really matter. But what I'm saying, or why I'm saying this is interesting point I heard today from a broadcaster of a game was that I believe the first month of the season they've allowed extra roster space for pitchers due to the short spring training and the short time to ramp up pitchers and pitch counts, as we were just discussing with Kershaw. But because of that, some of the pitchers in the majors right now are not seasoned or ready for major league, play. They should probably be in AAA and maybe a handful of AA. Because the walk rates have also been higher to the first week of the season compared to past years. I don't have the exact figures in front of me. But that would explain a lot. And just watching games of the Mets, or I watched some of the White Sox games and Tigers series, there's definitely a lot more wildness and lack of control from the pitchers, which would explain, or which would, be a result of having these inexperienced pitchers. But that's, I'm sure, is going to even itself out as the year goes on. But it's just a weird thing that I kind of noticed.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. Hopefully this stuff gets figured out. I also think that people just might not like the Mets, and that's something I think you have to understand.
Yeah.
And I don't have any qualms with that.
Yeah. Another thing that I just thought of was umpires announcing the calls like NFL officials. Right. Electric. I love that.
Love it. Yeah.
There was one call I saw in Toronto. I don't know what it was for, but he announced that he was safe, and the entire Rogers Center, or whatever it's called now, erupted, and it sounded like you were watching like a playoff game, like NFL. It was pretty cool. I think it's kind of just another little. Finally, they've done that because I think that was much needed.
Yeah. Two things on that point. First off, when I first saw that come out, I was on Twitter and I saw that. I retweeted. I was like, "This is just awesome. You don't understand what this is going to do for the sport." Also, I thought to myself, God, that would be nerve-wracking as an umpire myself. Because listen, I mean, well, I will say this: I feel like a lot of people always assume there's malintent. For the most part, being in the game, around the game, I know I've only been high school, varsity high school type situations where I've been at. But I know a lot of umpires. I know umpires who I'm willing to support. I've done replay for UNC Division I baseball. I interact with those guys, umpires as well. Generally, they want to get the play right. Like there is ego because there's ego in everything. There's ego in playing, but for the most part, the impetus is getting that play right. But there are times where you miss it because you're human, right? And it's the bang bang. So having that mic on, be like, fuck, man, you know what I mean? It's a little nerve wracking, but
Yeah.
I do think it's awesome for the sport. I really do. That is exciting shitski right there, as well as the. How do you feel about this situation, Sean?
I
Clayton said no. Clayton literally, he's like, we're not doing it.
I will say this: the teams that have used it, some of them that enjoy it. I know that I think that they said the Red Sox are not fans of it, or maybe the Yankees. Either way, the teams that have been using it and have kind of fought through the bugs, they're getting the ball and pitching it, so it is cut down on the dead time. However, it's going to take some time to get into the league because you're gonna have a lot of pitchers, like you said, Kirsch, that don't want to use it. I don't hate it. I don't know if I were in the position if I'd use it or not, but it is something that I think is at least good to check out for some players.
Yeah, I don't. I know a couple of the announcers I've heard don't like it because they can't call the pitches anymore because a lot of times they know the signs. They're like, man, I'm lost up here. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I would just be afraid, and maybe it's because I'm 85 years old, as like a safety thing. I mean, you get crossed up sometimes with a bunch of the different sequences because how many different sequences do we run through now with like pitches? So the fingers really aren't as easy as we think they are. But man, if you're not looking and you just press a button, you think calling for something and you're not. And there's there's not a lot of communication. It takes the communication out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's scary. You think a curve's coming. He buzzes 99 up at you.
Yeah, well, that was when I was watching him use it in the games. The catcher has to know what button he's pressing. He can't look down at it because he has to hide it from any cameras. He has to know where he's like, what button is what. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is
I saw a lot of catchers trying to go through the glove.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a small device, Sean. I know I'd fuck up. Is all I'm saying. Yeah. You accidentally, you got a big fucking finger, a big thumb. You hit the button to the left. All of a sudden, you're getting the slider inside. You think it's a fastball away. As well as from what I've heard, it's only 5 or 6 different buttons.
Yeah.
To denote things, and every pitcher has a different arsenal. So for Kurt, like, let's play the show here, okay? And this happened to me and Leif last night. I'm pitching. We're doing a co-op. If you guys play the show, me and Leif are pitching. We're playing against the team. I have Kirsch on the mound. His X, if you play PlayStation, which traditionally, what do you think X is? Fastball, right? Yeah. His X is a slider because that's his number one pitch at this point in his career. He pitches off the slider. I throw X, in a situation. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's the slider. I meant to throw the fastball. I'm screwed. Extrapolate that into here. If your pitcher's primary is whatever, he throws a slider, not a curve, and you press that button, you're like, yesterday it was a slider for whoever. Today it's a curve for Evaldi. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm not in it. I don't know the intricacies of it, but it just seems like shit could go wrong.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's good that they introduced some of this stuff to see they can kind of weed it out. That just doesn't work. They can move on in the future. Also, I don't think we discussed this, but they kind of snuck this one in that under the radar. Extra inning thing is back with runner on second.
Yeah,
hate that so much.
No, it's aggravating.
But yeah, it is what it is. Unfortunately.
Woody.
Yes, absolutely. So what did you want to get into here? So some players that you that struck you this week?
Yeah, let's give a shout out, a player highlight to a hitter and pitcher for this week. Do you want to go first or second here, Sean?
I could go first. I can go
Go
first.
for it, man.
So
Hitter?
for mine, call me biased or not, Chris Bassett of the Mets. I have him for the pitching side of it. Basically, he's in my opinion one of the more underrated pitchers or players in the game itself. He went 6 innings, no runs, 1 walk, and I believe 9 strikeouts against the Washington Nationals. You may say, it's just the Nationals. Well, they got Juan Soto and Nelly Cruz in that lineup. So those are some boppers there. And then Josh Bell. But he just he struck me, has a lot of composure on the mound. It's the first time I really watched him pitch closely. But I think he had a good week. And not to mention, from what I can gather in the clubhouse and dugout, he seems to be very much a team leader already. When the starting pitcher comes out of the game, it happened yesterday with Tyler McGill. He came out of the game. He's a younger pitcher. So Bassett kind of literally put his arm around him and had an iPad, and they were going over the sequence of pitches to certain batters, which I thought was really cool. And then today Scherzer did the same thing, which is interesting because Scherzer is, I think, older than Bassett and obviously is a very successful pitcher.
Yeah.
But I think it's kind of a cool thing. So
yeah,
Chris
that's
Bassett.
awesome. I love to see it. I had Chris Bassett on my fantasy teams a couple of years ago with the A's, a little sleeper type guy. I like him though. I like that pick for this week. 9 Ks he had. I didn't know he was much of a strikeout guy, but I like Chris Bassett getting 9 strikeouts on the week.
I believe it was 9.
Come on, don't be lying to the fan base here. You better look that up right now.
Okay. I'll do that.
So I'll stay with you. I'll go pitcher highlight. Guys, I mean, come on now. 7 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, 80 pitches. First off, I'm going to ask you another question about this guy. How many times do you see 13 strikeouts combined with 80 pitches?
Not very often. That is
what's 13 times 3. Like, what does that even equal? We don't do math like that.
No, we certainly do not.
39? Is it? I think 39. 13 times 3 got to be 39, right?
Yeah.
That's fun. That's half of his pitches came on pitches that were leading to strikeouts.
Can I just interject real quick?
Of course, yeah.
It was 8 strikeouts for Chris Bassett. I was one of them.
We appreciate you coming on with the honesty, Sean. We do.
Sorry.
I mean, that's 40 out of the 80 pitches were going to strikeys. The outies, not just the strikeys, the outies of the strikeys. Anyway, here's the thing we want to get into here. What I was talking about earlier, where I think that, this could be not as surprising to people as it should be. I picked him to win Cy Young this year. Obviously, there's a lot of bias in it, but I didn't do that the last couple of years, and I said that honestly, I haven't. Excuse me, we're going to do this again. Last year, okay, 32.7% called strikes and whiffs percentage. Okay, do you know what that is? That means the percentage of pitches you have that are either a called strike or a swing and miss. A strike in some form. 32.7%. And that tied his career best, which was in 2016. And no other year he's had that high. That's pretty good if you ask me. Today was like 50-something%, which is insane. The bigger thing is, in the swinging strike percentage, which means basically whiff percentage, the amount of times people swing and miss at your pitches, which in my opinion, probably going forward, like in next year when you see our player rankings, is going to take a bigger portion of how I view pitchers, because if you get people to swing and miss, I mean, that is literally the goal, right? Just a swing and miss is the goal of pitching. Last year, he had a 16.7% swing and miss percentage, which was the highest percentage in the league per 100 innings pitched. I just want to share. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do a share here. Let's see if we can get it here. I believe this is it. I had to make my own graph here. Now, if you sort it by whatever qualified, obviously he doesn't come up. He didn't throw enough innings. But for 100 innings pitched, which is obviously more than most relievers who might be higher on this list, I mean, he's right there, man. And take a look at the names who's there, guy. It's Corbin Burns with 1% less, Maxey, Robbie Ray, known as a high strikeout rate, Kevin G had a great year. Lucas, Rodon, Steve McClanahan, Cole, Freddie Peralta, Trevor Rogers. These are guys. This isn't a fluke. You don't get put around these names and it be a fluke. So last year he had the highest swing and miss percentage in the league for 100 innings pitched. Basically, what I'm trying to say, I don't know if his Cy Young this year is about to have is as much of a fluke as people think. I think he has gotten a lot of help from a lot of this advanced stuff. And the first couple of years when it was coming out, I had heard he went to Pitching Ninja and stuff, and he didn't like it. He kind of had some pushback. And he's said in interviews before, I'm never going to throw a changeup until I feel like I have to. He threw about 5 or 6 changeups today. 2 of them look filthy. Sets you up that slider, a little changeup that dives arm side. I'm excited for that to become part of the arsenal. Picks up a 4th pitch. That's pretty insane.
Yeah.
I'm happy about it, and I'm gonna share the screen one last time. You guys are gonna hate me. Let's see if I can get this even in good time. If I can't, oh God, never mind, Sean, never mind. You give me a hit. You give me a hit. I just fucked everything up.
Okay. My hitter, Stephen Kwan.
Woo! I was hoping you were a little Kwani Kwan on me.
Yeah, never heard of him until this week. He had not. Yeah, he did not swing and miss at a pitch until today, I believe.
That's right. Yeah.
It just is very impressive, and it's not like he's up there just not hitting or not swinging. He was hitting for very, very impressive average. I think he was hitting above 600 in this first week. Obviously, that's probably 7 games or so. So it's a small sample size, but my goodness, that's pretty impressive. That's what I like about the beginning of the season is you'll get these guys who will come out and play really well in the beginning. I mean, last year, or maybe it was the year before, was Yerman Mercedes, the guy who retired and then retired. And then I think even Akil Badu last year had, I think, like 4 home runs in his first 4 at-bats or some weird stuff like that. Every year, there's always something. And this year, it's just Stephen Kwan. It's you love to see it. And now we're talking about the player on the Guardians real quick. Huge contract extension for Jose Ramirez. Good for him and the Guardians.
Not enough, if you ask me. I think he got underpaid, but
yeah, it is Cleveland. But yeah, no, I don't really have too much else to add with Stephen Kwan. But
I love the pick, Sean. First off, a couple different shout outs. Number one, Stephen Kwan was a sleeper rookie of the year candidate in some of the other baseball tournaments. I saw Fuzzy talk about him a couple times. He's one of those like mid-tier, upper middle class, we'll call them prospects. Very high contact rate, very low strikeout guy. Michael Brantley type player, guys that I love. The power potential is just not there as of yet. Again, he's young, so you never know. Don't want to write anyone off. But he came up and he's done what he's always done. He put the bat on the ball and he hits it hard and he found holes, and I love it. On that note with JoJo, could have been my hitter of the week, honestly, because he had a fucking phenomenal week himself. I think highest on base percentage in the league over Stephen Kwan. I think, or maybe I'm wrong on that. But 3 homers, batting almost 400. He's doing his absolute thing out there in JoJo. I had something else to say, Sean, and I don't remember. And that's a lot of times, Sean. That's just how the cookie crumbs.
Yeah, unfortunately, is how
I do remember talking about Cleveland and players like Stephen Kwan. Want to give another shout out to my guy Miles Straw, who had another great week this week. I had to give him a shout out on that center fielder rankings. I'm really starting to be a Miles Straw guy, Sean. This guy gets a bag every day. He just steals a bag like it's nothing. He puts the ball in play, hits it decently hard, doesn't have any power, plays good defense, steals. He's like a nice Whit Merrifield, but playing a premium position, Sean. I'm really starting to like a little bit of Miles Straw for real life purposes, maybe not fantasy. I'm liking me some Miles Straw out there, especially out of Houston now. I mean, it's just getting better and better.
Yeah, and that is a small ballpark, so he doesn't have a lot of power, but he might be able to hit, maybe 2 or 3.
Now we got to talk about my hitter for the week, Sean. Okay, we have to. You have any idea of who it is? Any idea?
I don't think I do. I really don't think I do.
Well, Sean, I'm going to tell you the peripheries first, okay? And then maybe you'll like what I say, okay? Let's talk about it, Sean. He hit 13 at bats, Sean. 8 hits. If you count them, that's a .615 average. with a 706 on base percentage. He had a homer and 2 doubles, Sean, 4 walks and 3 strikeouts. And let me tell you, not a lot of it was a bunch of hoosh and boosh. 96%, in exit velocity over the week. 615, 706, highest in the league, Sean. Any idea who that is, Sean? Any? Come on.
I don't know. I
Sean, it is G-Man Choi, I'll tell you right now.
okay. G-Man.
Okay. G-Man Choi had the week of a lifetime out there. I'm telling you, Sean, there's a shot here that he actually just breaks out for some reason and becomes an all-star player this year. I don't know what the shot is. I don't know what it is, Sean. I'll tell you this, though. We're going to watch his homer from this week. That's what I'll tell you.
I can't wait.
No, Sean, you don't have to. Okay.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh my God.
That was beautiful.
And look how cute he is, Sean.
He is very.
He's hitting 615.
G-Man Choi.
8 for 13. Must I say more, Sean? I think the answer is no. That's my hitter highlight for the week. I hope you guys appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Friend of the pod. Am I right or wrong on that?
Oh my God, the biggest friend of the pod.
So what's the next thing we're getting into here? Are we getting into fantasy player to watch for this week?
Yeah, we could do that. You want to start? Or you want me to start?
You start this one out here.
Okay. So this is a guy that I feel is very undervalued for whatever reason. And and I won't say undervalued because he's valued very highly. But in the fantasy drafts I participated in this year, and there was a lot of them, I think about 4 or 5. He was always kind of undervalued, at least where he got picked, where I thought I didn't have a chance to get him for whatever reasons. But I'm going with the shortstop from the Toronto Blue Jays, Bo Bichette.
Bo Bichette, okay.
He's had a bit of a slow start. He's like 212. That's 7 games in. The guy really has it all offensively, and I think he's going to get hot upcoming here. A lot of times you see guys start out slow in the season. A lot of times you'll see some of the better players start out slow. Like Juan Soto has got a bit of a slow start. Bryce Harper very much so is hitting under 100 so far, and I think even Vladdy Jr. Has got off to a bit of a slow start. He has hit some home runs though, but. Either way, I think Bo Bichette is a guy that is going to keep rising up the ranks. It was kind of tough for me to say any other guys, maybe less known guys, because just based off the small sample size. But I think Bo Bichette has been kind of undervalued thus far, and a lot of people might think his season last year or the year before was kind of a fluke. But Toronto certainly has the offensive weapons. That's for sure. Let's just see if the pitching can get them through.
I'm going to do some sacrilege here, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
My fantasy players were just players to watch this week. I'm going to take a similar approach to you. Some guys that just got unlucky last week that I think are going to have a breakout, really great weeks this week because of it. They hit the ball hard. We're going to go down to Houston, Sean, and we're going to do a double take on 2 Houston Astros today. Trust me, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this to the fans. But Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez are going to have massive weeks this week. They are going to bounce back. Let me dive into some numbers, Sean, to tell you why. Kyle Tucker had the big 2 home run game, game 2 for the Astros for their season, and has hit the ball just as hard ever since. His BABIP, Sean, .053. That is unbelievably low. He has only 2 strikeouts and 23 at-bats to go along with 2 walks. He's not striking out. He's hitting 130 and yet has the 6th highest expected weighting on base percentage at 547. His actual weighted on base is 307, and he's 98th percentile in expected batting average. So I mean, this is he's gonna turn around here. Kyle Tucker,
tough luck here.
I've never seen luck worse than this, to be frank with you. And honestly, we're gonna call him the Twin Towers for today because Yordan Alvarez. 300 expected weighting on base percent. 300 weighted on base percentage right now. His expected is 471. He's hitting 143 right now with 3 walks, Sean, and no strikeouts in 14 at bats. That's big for Yordan. Hasn't struck out yet. Walked 3 times in 14 at bats. .077 BABIP. They both should be hitting well over 300 at this point.
Yeah.
Both hitting the ball very hard. So look for big weeks from them. Thankfully, I have stock in Jordan a lot of places. Big Jordan guy.
Me too.
And I actually have one share of Kyle Tucker this year, believe it or not, in the no move leagues with Cal. So hopefully those do work out for me. But the luck will turn.
I hope it does too. Did you have a pitcher for this week? Because I didn't have one coming into it, but now I do.
I do. You're the pitcher guy this week, Sean. It's just Clayton again. Clayton's going to throw the person.
Okay. I have Tyler McGill. Already mentioned it before. So far, at 2 starts, he's only gone 5 innings in each, so he's got about 10 1/3 innings so far. I don't think he's given up a run yet. He has not walked a batter. Mets opening day starter. Guy's been on fire. Love his demeanor. They asked him about starting opening day, and he said it's just any other day. Apparently, he's got a very low heart rate. I don't know if that's true or not, or just a myth, but he certainly doesn't show anything on the mound emotion-wise, which is good. You don't want a pitcher to get flustered. I mean, look at like Steven Matz, the guy would lose his mind after giving up a hit. But he has the demeanor, like I said, and I think this guy has the it factor. He's got great stuff, and he was saying recently that he wants to get up to 100 on his fastball this season. He said he's at 98 now. Why not try and get that extra 2 miles per hour to 100? And I'm here for it. So,
Sean, I love what you said there. I was trying to find my first lab for my LFIT class this semester as you said that, because believe it or not, Sean, I am in the above average category for heart rate resting and after exercise. Just thought you should know. Sweaty guy, but I'm telling you, the stamina's there. I was in the 90 something percentile for resting heart rate, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. I just want to, and I consider myself a fairly anxious guy. I'm sure there are times when the anxiety's a little high, it's much higher. But at the point in which I did the test, Sean, this is what health looks like. Is what I'm trying to tell the viewers.
Absolutely, folks.
This is what health looks like. To move off of Tyler McGill, Sean, I'm going to give you my hot take for the week. Do you mind?
Go right ahead.
This is a guy I just picked up in Fantrax today before the game. I don't know if you saw. We made some big additions. Unfortunately, we have dropped Yips again. Waters Gurriel Jr. Has been kicked off the squad. Always an open invitation to come back. If he gets hot, figures out what he's doing.
You love Lords.
I do. I can't get enough of the guy.
You love the man.
He can't figure it out. When he does, though, Sean, I'll be here. Wait, open arms, We added finally to the squad for the first time ever. Gavin Lux is on the Red Hots. Big addition. Corey Texas wasn't playing today, needed a shortstop. I said, I think it's time. I've watched a couple Dodgers games this last week, and he has looked really good with the sticks. So I said, you know what? Let's give the guy a shot. Plays everywhere. Plays a good second base. And let me tell you, he had the perfect game-saving play today with that nice play up the middle, though.
Play up the middle, though.
And that second homer in the back-to-back sequence, if you watch the 3 homers in a row the Dodgers hit, he pimped that boy a little bit to dead center. Gavin Lux did. My hot take for the week, Sean, Gavin Lux wins NL Player of the Week this week. And this is probably the biggest hot take ever for his career, cements himself as a starting player on the Dodgers for the rest of the year and his career.
Wow.
I think this week is the week where there's no more, Gavin Lux jokes. Gavin Lux is the running joke for you're not getting playing time, okay? That is what Gavin Lux has been, at least in the Dodger community. Maybe it doesn't extend as far as outside that, but at least in my bubble, everyone jokes about Gavin Lux because he's been this top prospect, and the Dodgers have just treated him not like shit. He hasn't performed well, but he's never been given consistent at-bats, and he struggled with that. We finally made some moves this offseason that gave him a clearer path to playing time. Really, trading A.J. Pollock, somehow our left fielder, was giving him more playing time. That's because we have Mookie play second sometimes. He's got pretty much the second base job right now, and I got to tell you, he looks really confident for the first time. I think he's a very mental kid. I know how that can be, especially when playing a sport. and he looks good. I think he comes out, he stays hot, Sean, and he, looking at his StatCast numbers, no, it's only 5-6 games. They're all cherry red. I think Gavin Lux has finally made it. It's taken a long time. This has been Gavin Lux is the top prospect for 4 years, Dirksen Profar type situation. I think he's here to stay. Gavin Lux gets hot this week, and it's all over.
I like that. And since you said all that, Dave Roberts is going to put him right back on the bench.
And from the moment I picked him up, he struck out his first 3 at-bats. I just want to be clear about that. Had not struck out yet this season. He struck out 3 at-bats in a row. I looked at him, I said, Gavin. And he went, blocking. I think we just had to have – sometimes, it's a mental game with Gavin.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
I like that. My hot take is a team, not really a player. Washington Nationals, they're going to get 4 wins this week.
Okay.
You might say that's crazy. I might be crazy, but they play the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Arizona Diamondbacks this week.
Sean, that's not a hot take. Who is this guy with the hot takes? They're playing garbage, Sean.
Hey.
Give me 5 wins. Make that a hot take.
All right, fine. Let's go 5 wins then. 5 out of potential 6 games. You really think they're –
okay. I thought they were playing 7. Are they playing
6?
All right. I'll give you that.
I was going with either a sweep, and 1 or 2 and 2.
I'll give you 5.
But I think Juan Soto. This isn't a hot take by any stretch of the imagination, but I think Juan Soto gets hot. A bit of a slow start to the year. Monster home run on opening day. Very much monster. I think the Nationals. I honestly, their pitching's not good. It's terrible. Patrick Corbin was their opening day star. He had an ERA well north of 5 last year, but their offense isn't bad, and keepers look good. They said defense was his weakness. In 4 games against the Mets, I don't think he had 1 pass ball, and I think he played 3 of the 4 games. Blocked everything, and that's saying a lot because you get some of these young pitchers. As I was saying, their command is awful. Yeah. He had decent at bats too. I mean, he's impressing me. Also on the Nationals, Josiah Gray, another part of that trade. He looked good. I don't think he went 5 innings in the second game. I think he gave up a couple of runs. But I know he's very much a top prospect for the Dodgers for a little while. And I wonder if this is the case where maybe he made the major league a little too fast because he's on not a very good team. But either way, watch out for Josiah Gray. I think he's got the potential to really kick it in gear. And they really need him in that rotation because with Strasburg out, Eric Fetty, I think, is their ace. And for any of you guys who know who he is, props to you.
Yeah, no, props to Eric, the Fetty fans out there.
Yeah.
Wow. Sean, I'm sorry. Anyway, guys, don't think about Eric Fetty too much. It'll make you sad. We're going to talk about what happened last week with our 3 what do we call them, Sean? 3 picks to click or 3 whatevers?
I like picks to click.
Picks to click. Okay, that's what we're calling the segment now. Sean, I had Soto. Let me pull this up here because I had it somewhere, just so I can give the fan. I'm not like you. I don't say fucking 9 strikeouts when it's 8. That's not what I say to our fan base. I had Vladdy hitting 3, Juan hitting 1. You had Vladdy hitting 3, Juan hitting 2. We both had Vladdy winning it. Well, Sean, they both hit 2. What are you going to do? That's baseball. When none of us get a point, however, you do get a half point because you said that Juan was going to hit 2, and he did. So Sean is up 0.5 to zip here. Going on to the National Series, Sean. I had the Nats 2-2, Phillies 1-2. Sean had a 3-1 win for the Mets over the Nats and a sweep from the Phillies. We both had the under. The Mets hit the over, of course. That's just
they tried not to today. They got up 8-1 and almost blew the game, but they pulled it out.
Yeah, I think they still would have had it, right? Because they won 5 games this week. They won 5.
That's true.
They Mets had a good week. Sean.
Yeah, they should be 7-0 right now. Both losses, their bullpen imploded. Their bullpen sucks. Just saying.
Sean did get that the Nats series would be 3-1. That's another 0.5. Sean, you're up 1-0 here. And the last thing we had was Clayton 5 2/3 over under. Sean had taken the under. Thankfully, I took the over, and we all know that Clayton went 7. Should have been 9 if you ask me. Yeah. That's the whole point for me. Thank you very much. We are tied here, of course.
1-1.
1-1. Our 3 for this week, Sean. Can I get a drum roll? Thank you. I lost them. Sean, I'm not gonna lie, I found them. Our Phillies total errors for this week. How many errors? I believe they play 7 games. How many errors are the Phillies committing this week?
Well, if Alec Boehm plays anywhere on the field, I think that increases the chances. I'm gonna go with 5 errors this week.
Okay, I'm going with 6. I'm gonna go with 6 errors. Close to 1 per game. We talked about it last time on the pod. How much will buying all these offensive players who can't field shit does defense win championship in baseball?
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, most of the teams that have been in the World Series the past 10 years have been also like the best defending teams in the league as well. Think about the Rays, think about the Dodgers. I mean, even the Astros. Those are elite defenses, especially the Dodgers in the last couple of years. I know I'm a homer, but I mean, those defenses are no joke out there with Chrissy T and Cody and Mookie, and I can go down the line, but 6 and 5. Okay.
I saw a video today on YouTube actually was saying that this experiment, he was wondering if it was going to work, because if it does work, the other teams might follow suit.
Yeah.
So far, it's very early to tell, but so far their defense is pitiful.
Listen, they got Kay Schwartz and Nick Castellanos.
And Rhys Hoskins.
Even Harper has slowed down defensively.
Yeah.
Our last one is gonna. So what was the first one? Was that what the first one?
That was the first one.
I'm Sean. I'm not here right now. Is the Pirates wins this week? 2.5 is the over/under out of 7 games.
I'm going under because I had the Nationals doing well against them.
God, do I think they win 3 out of 7? Because they go 3 and 4. That's a lot for the Pirates to go 3 and 4. I got to take the under, guys. I'm sorry, I have to agree with Sean. I can't see them winning 4 games or 3 games. I can't do it. No. No. And the last one is Ohtani home runs this week. The MVP from last year, struggling a little bit this week, Sean, this opening week.
He was giving his bat CPR, actually.
I didn't see that. Is that something?
No, in the dugout, he was like blowing into it, and then
I hope this isn't Puig part 2. You'd hate to see that at a show, hey. You'd hate to see that.
We need another Puig.
He pitched well. 9 Ks in 4 innings, maybe?
4 innings, yeah.
Yeah. So he was striking everyone out. God's creation. A couple of years ago, people asked me, would you rather have Shohei as a pitcher or a hitter? I thought he was a better pitcher than hitter. I was wrong last year. I might be right this year. You never know with this kid. Over-under sit at 1.5 for homers this week, Sean. Does he break out?
You probably won't like this, but I'm going to go under. I think he gets 1.
I can't be the same as you, Sean, as much as I tend to agree with that statement. I'm going to take the over. I am going to take the over and take the risk that my boy Shohei, please, for the love of Jesus Christ, breaks out a little bit. The max exit velocity was still the highest in the league at 100 percentile through this first week. Average exit velocity way down. So he's swinging and missing a lot. He does not look comfortable, but when he does connect, he's a little bit of Adam Dunny this first week, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
We know the power he has, though. The power wasn't gone. He's still just as strong. So hopefully he accidentally hits a couple balls this week and they go over the fence. Not sure, with another episode probably about our fantasy teams, possibly midweek over the next couple of weeks to figure out when we can get that recorded. Just to give you an update, to a fresh start of the fantasy year with our teams. Team Sean, obviously, we're still nameless. We're gonna hope by the time we have a podcast, this guy's fucking name is goddamn team.
Hey, if you guys have suggestions for names, please comment down below.
Please comment them down below. Please, I'm begging you. I can't call this guy. Can I speak to the manager of Team Sean? It's just Sean. You got to call for the Red Hots. You get the king. There's a difference here, Sean.
Yeah, I know.
I appreciate you guys watching. Let us know if there's anything you want us to do, another segment you want us to add, a segment you don't like, any ideas, constructive criticism. I know this is 30 episodes almost now, but this is our first season, right? This is our first week. We started this the last week of the regular season, pretty much last year. So what can we do on a weekly basis to get your new news to you? Do you like the highlights? Do you like the projections? Just let us know. We're here for you, babes.
We are. Like, subscribe, comment
That's
down
it.
below.
That's it. We'll see you next week. He has not allowed a hit yet in the 2022 season, not even a walk. No one's getting on base when he's pitched. Do you think, comment down below if you still watch, do you think that Clayton Kershaw allows a base runner in 2022? Or is 2022 the year of 22?